Aloha, nerds. My name is Matthew Salanoa. Welcome to Why It's Great Toys. So, some of you may know me from my movie reviews, but if you don't, no worries. I do have another channel that's a bit more mature. It's for a more mature audience intentionally, where I do movie reviews that largely look at movies from the point of view as a storyteller. And I have one podcast. It's more about critiquing movies, and the other, the first one, Why It's Great and Why It's Great Gut Reaction, about celebrating movies. But I've been thinking about doing this for a while. I've really enjoyed some great YouTube toy podcasts, such as Chef Retron. That's definitely my favorite toy review. So I'm just starting it myself. We'll see how this goes. I did my first video, should have been Mystique, where it's my roommate's Mystique statue. Really beautiful piece from Sideshow Collectibles. And it was actually her suggestion. I thought, man, what a great first video. It almost makes me look like I own quality stuff, but it's not mine. That's my roommate's. She aims for a higher quality, and I aim for things that usually cost $20. So here we go. Please forgive the little wire for where I'm talking. This video should be video 2. Because this movie just came out, we just had Captain America Brave New World. And actually, I just moved. I just set up this diorama here, which I'll talk about in a separate podcast. My little diorama adventures. That's not the name, just I have another podcast about that. But for this one, I have this wire just because he was already hanging. I already shot a little bit of video. And honestly, I was just so impressed with this figure when I finally assembled him all together. I've had, this is Captain America, or I like to call him Falcon America, because hey, he's got the wings. He still looks like Falcon to me. But Captain America from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This was part of the Disney Plus line, and I was really impressed with the figure. It came as a 2-pack with the Captain America from Endgame, so I was like, dude, 2 for 1. And not only that, there was the Disney Plus figures that all had his Build-A-Figure wings. So, I had to collect it because obviously I have a thing for toys. And this was something I was waiting for. I knew about this from the comics. I hadn't read the comics, but when I started reading comics, which was around the time of the Civil War, the first Civil War comics that came out, that was an incredible event. A really great 7-part series. And I, in particular, collected the Spider-Man connections. But around that time, I had discovered Falcon becomes Captain America. I actually have the issue where Captain America dies. That was a pretty intense issue, and I think I might have one or two more after that, but then the recession hit, and so I wasn't buying so many comics anymore. But anyway, so knowing that he was coming from Winter Soldier, I was excited for this figure. And I'm really impressed with it. I think if I'm going to make a podcast about toys, this one totally deserves it. I have some better footage I should be cutting to. But just right here, I really look at this shield. What a fantastic shield. Granted, of course, you get a Sideshow and it really looks like metal, but for plastic and paint, I'm pretty happy with that. The fact that we have these kind of molded parts, these raised parts, it's nice. You got the wings that look exactly like the show. What was wonderful about it is that in the comic book, it looked amazing. In the picture, wow. I did think when I first saw Anthony Mackie in this suit, I was like, ooh, that really looks kind of silly. It was the same thing I thought with the first Captain America outfit from the first movie when he literally comes out in a show outfit. I was like, ooh, that does not age well. It's very patriotic, but ooh, that's why I love that Winter Soldier outfit. I'm like, that's what someone I could see actually wearing. But, and that being said, he does get this upgrade, which I don't have yet, but he does get this upgrade, the Winter Soldier style upgrade in Brave New World. But yeah, this was from, like I said, the finale, and I really thought In action, it did look good. In action, it was just when he was standing still. I was like, that looks like a comic book outfit, that's for sure. But I appreciate that. Look at how accurate it is with the goggles. You know, the silver's a bit plasticky looking because it is plastic. But you know, for again, it was a $22 toy, $25 toy, basically in a 2-pack. It was like 40 or $50. But you know, considering that price range, I'm really happy with this quality. I think it's a great figure for collection, and also you know, it looks really accurate. It looks like that's Anthony Mackie's face. You know, it looks like him from the show, and like I said, I was looking forward to this. I knew this figure was coming. I liked this Falcon figure a lot, but damn, once I found out, oh, he becomes Captain America, I was waiting for this. I couldn't wait when it finally showed up on I forget what store I was in. I was in some store and I saw that 2-pack. I'm like, I gotta get this. There's no missing out. Plus the end game, which is a more true to the comics outfit for Cap as well. Yeah, but this guy's part of my diorama. You should be seeing him in that footage. Really great figure. There's not much more to say than that for me right now because literally it's my first time trying to review a toy. I'm a little nervous to tell you the truth. Who knows what you guys will think. But you know, I hope you appreciate this figure as I do. I really feel like Hasbro did a wonderful job. The paint, the mold, it's really solid, and really great posable figure action going on. I really like. But also, now that I have him flying, you know, the fact that he can have that perfect superhero flight. Because, you know, some of these figures, when you try to make them look like they're flying, their legs just look so stiff. And he has a very natural kind of leg look when he's flying. I thought that's nice. Because, you know, you got to build it into that technology. Some of them, you know, this is built to stand. You know, this is meant to stand. Like Cable from the Deadpool 2 line, that dude is meant to be standing. It's so heavy. But yeah, I really like this figure. And for those of you who may be wondering about the movie, I do have a movie review show. I did put Brave New World under my review and critique show, Final Cut, which again is more for mature audiences. And you know, to be honest, do not watch my show while operating heavy machinery. It's if you watch my movie review show, do it. I would recommend using that to go to sleep to, if you're at least over the age of 13. I think it'll put you to sleep real nice. It puts me to sleep when I edit it. But yeah, so if you want to see my full kind of review and critique, that's there. But if you just want a little, hey, did you like the movie? Should I go see it? Because I haven't seen it yet. Absolutely. Captain America Brave New World. It's such a Captain America movie. And for those of you, even myself, I kind of felt like I didn't quite see him have that Captain America specific moment in his previous showings in movies, except in Winter Soldier. I thought he had a bunch of moments where this guy is the buddy, but he does seem like he could totally be Cap in the future, you know, except for not having the superpowers. But I really felt like for those of you who were worried, is he going to make a good Cap? You know, we didn't really get a lot of him in the movies, and he did have the show, but you know, the show was kind of constrained. We didn't have a lot of him being like a leader of groups of people or anything like that, which Cap is kind of famous for. What does he look like? And I thought, personally, against a lot of criticisms, I thought he totally was Cap in this movie. He had a lot of great moments where he seemed like he was Captain America. And, you know, just in terms of his values, what he put first, you know, and what he stands for, I thought they got those moments so right. Anthony Mackie played it so right, where he wasn't trying to do a Chris Evans impression. He was doing his character in these scenarios with his experience. And I thought he just played that perfectly. And he definitely upped his fighting game. The choreography was great. He looks like he's a Captain America with the choreography, while still, again, utilizing his history as a Falcon. That's why as soon as those wigs come out, like, you're Falcon America. You're still Cap. I'm not saying you're not Captain, But I'm calling you Falcon America because you're using your Falcon powers all the time. You know what I mean? That's a Falcon move. That's a Falcon move. That's not a Cap move. That's a Falcon. You're Falcon America, bro. You know, you will soar to new heights as Cap, but you are Falcon America. But yeah, no, the action's great, load of fun. When the Red Hulk happens, it is the signature moment. It is the reason for showing up for sure, and it's a total worthy fight, worthy of your time. And I, you know, they do utilize every part of his history. I do have some minor criticisms. They're not minor in my other review, but just in terms of, hey, do you think you'll enjoy it? You'll definitely have a good time. It's a movie that's trying to give you a good time. You know, MCU never fails at least being entertaining, in a non-ironic way. You know, I think even though I don't like Iron Man 3 or Dark World, if I had to watch them, I know there's still lots of humor, and it's not funny because it shouldn't be funny. It's funny because it's funny. And I think the humor is a bit awkward in this movie. Maybe it's just me. I thought the movie came off a little odd a few times, and I'm not a fan of the villain. There's a surprise villain. If you want homework advice, I would say go back and watch Incredible Hulk before you watch this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, and that'll be that by itself will be a good prep. And I did try to watch. I wanted to watch The Winter Soldier. I ended up watching. I tried to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier again. I only got through the first episode because I ended up watching the movie sooner than I thought I would. But you know, at least watch the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think you'll get great Falcon stuff. And rewatching it, because I was not a fan of the first 3 episodes, and now in retrospect, I think it's just because he gave away the shield in the first episode. I'm shaking my head at you, like I don't believe you. But either way, he has a lot of small moments that are. It's so clear he's on this trajectory of being Captain America. But you know, imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it would be fears of what other people think hold him back, although it's not really spoken. But maybe that's the better thing. I think at the time I judged it, but now I think maybe that's the better thing, because he is like Cap. He's not here to spill his beans all over you all the time. That's not the type of person he is. So, but I still felt like when I was watching that first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that I got enough of who Sam's inner person was, that I was like, if this was a movie, I would be very happy. But as a TV show, I'm like expecting television formatting, and it's not like that. It is like a 6-hour movie. So at the time, also, it was very jarring. I was like, that's not enough story, you know, more. But I would say if you want homework to just maximize your enjoyment, if you're a fan of the MCU already, totally go back and watch Incredible Hulk and watch at least the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because there just will be things in there that speak to his character and how he is, and definitely how he is post Endgame. They won't be spoken necessarily. He's not announcing his character change, but it's there. You know, he's evolving, and he's also evolved. And if you watch that as a fan of this stuff, I think the criticisms I have for the movie are replaced by what's happening in that first episode. So granted, that doesn't help the movie necessarily, but at the very least it gives me a better context when I'm watching the movie from at least where he's coming from. You know what I mean? I think, you know, some people say, oh, I don't want to rewatch that stuff, but I think the MCU is cinematic television in a large way. And sort of the best way to enjoy it is to go back and watch stuff, because you'll see things you missed. And not only that, you'll realize that that's always what this was. It, like the comic books. Why it's hard for me to collect the comics, because I'm already watching the shows, but now I got to read the comics too. Is that the comics are so brilliant in having all those interconnected stories. Where if you go, like my fun for reading Civil War was also reading, because Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel superhero for sure. Definitely my favorite superhero, but when I read Civil War, I also picked up the Spider-Man Civil War comics. So he had his own inner story going on during Civil War, that where he had special encounters with other heroes, and everything influenced what he chose by the end of the Civil War arc. And some things were kind of left to those side comics, which made, at the time, it made this 7 issues of Civil War feel like it was a little bit light. But when I did go back and reread Civil War on its own, just the 7 parts, and I was really just, I was hit by it. I was moved by it. It was really powerful. I thought, what a great 7-part series. Reading it just on its own, and I couldn't help but feel like, that Captain America Civil War movie wasn't really Civil War. It was kind of a usage of the title. And the Civil War itself was more symbolic of Captain America and Iron Man himself. And I understood that at the time, just not what I wanted at the time. But I do still feel like the way the MCU is going, there is without a doubt in my mind that this should totally be a movie, and it should be a phase. I feel like Civil War should be a phase after they do X-Men. I think they're going to go cosmic. They're going to go to X-Men, which also has cosmic adventures. They should absolutely commit to X-Men and nail that. But after X-Men, they should make Civil War its own phase. And the Spider-Man trilogy, or the Spider-Man movie that comes out with that phase, should 100% be a telling of Peter Parker trying to save Mary Jane and trying to save Aunt May. As his identity is revealed, he gets hunted by assassins. And so literally everything that's supposed to be good about the Superhero Registration Act completely blows up in his face as a hero who's stopped a lot of terrible criminals. But we have, the Punisher's entrance was a great issue. And in particular, my favorite, which is a speech used in Captain America Civil War, my favorite is the issue where Spider-Man fights Captain America because he catches him on his own, and it's a good fight, but it ends with them having a conversation and Captain America giving the speech that Agent 13 gives in Civil War, which, my issue with that is only that that's Captain America's speech. He should be saying that, not just feeling it. That's what he should be saying to Tony at the end of the movie. But because you mix the Winter Soldier thing in, it doesn't make sense anymore. So that's too bad. But anyway, I've gone on and talked about comics now. But those are my thoughts on this figure, and it's mainly tangential thoughts, if I keep that in, of comics. I hope if you're a collector out there and you're interested in this figure, for me, it was a good buy, you know what I mean? But if you're more interested in the newer figure, and that's kind of what you were waiting for, because there's some toys I'm like, I'm not going to bother buying this because I know they'll make a new version later. And I started to realize that. I'm like, oh, it's not finite anymore. It used to be they just made what they made, and that's what you got, and 10 years goes by and nothing else happens. Now they're onto it. Now they're making every single new version they possibly can. But yeah, I thought the Captain America Brave New World was a good time. The figure's beautiful. If you have this figure and you haven't seen this movie, and all you've seen are the ads with the blue suit, hey, trust me, they still have the suit from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so it's not a nonsense buy for the collector who wants, hey, I want the thing that's in the movie, and now I have this thing, and it's not even in the movie. So it's totally there. Yeah, I think it looks fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next Captain America, however that shakes out. And yeah, that's my thoughts. Aloha. I'll see you for the next one.